As usual, we've got some special guests in the building. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Alafu we get into a conversation to do with the political situation in the country from a very youthful perspective. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'll start with we start with the left side, as always.
Yeah. Okay.
Sankara. You know, I've got a cousin called Sankara.
Uh-huh.
Yo, how you doing, bro?
I'm well.
Tell people who you are, man. I love what you do. I love we get into this thing.
That's nice. It's a pleasure being with you here for after a very long time.
It's been forever, bro.
Forever. You know, a lot of things happened. I lost my number one fan, my dad. We used to love, listening to Spice.
What?
So we buried in
we
July.
last spoke.
Yes. So.
Pole, manze.
But at the end of the day, we're here pushing for a better Kenya. So I'm Kennedy Sankara.
Yeah.
I come from the lakeside city of Kisumu, a place called Chicago,
Yeah.
And I'm in this city. We keep accountability checks on the government. We want to see service delivery as opposed to promises after promises,
Yeah.
And all we got to say is that Kenya is bigger than all of us, and it's our cardinal responsibility to leave it a better place than we found it.
Exactly, bro.
Yes.
Last time we also had a conversation was just after the day after Baba had passed. You remember?
Yes.
Hey, bro.
And a lot has happened. Currently Kenya is like on autopilot.
Yeah.
Kenya is an orphan like myself, who over-dependent on his father. Now the father is no longer there. Everyone is speaking in their own direction. It's as if the father never left them a direction, but everyone has chosen to live their own life.
It's almost as if we never thought our some of our leaders would never leave, that they were immortal.
Yeah. For me, when I grew up, I knew Baba was immortal.
Yeah.
I mean, the stories we got, this guy once turned into a broom when they went to do blah, blah. I never imagined that Baba would die. So that day, by the way, when I got the news, I was in Kisumu. And I was telling my mom that, Mom, you know what? I'm reading from somewhere that Baba is dead. And she never took it serious because to her, just like myself, we grew up knowing that Baba is somebody you cannot imagine that is dead.
Exactly.
So
bro.
A lot of people are still battling, acceptance stage. Grieving has got several stages. I could liken it to myself because I've just come from that scenario.
Yes.
I can tell there is acceptance stage. So people are still battling to accept whether Baba is really here or not. That's why you see a lot of people go to campaigns and they're like, Baba told us this, Baba said this, Baba this. We cannot verify, but it's acceptance. So a lot will happen. And now that Baba is not here, we should accept or expect that drama is going to be played.
Have you gone to Kango Kajaramogi already?
The experience I had with my own dad has not enabled me to get closer to. It's quite traumatic. I didn't want to touch on the wounds.
But you're gonna go eventually.
I will go. I will go. I will have to go and pick Baba's spirits from
Kennedy. You have to go, bro. I was even in Jaramogi's funeral.
Oh, that funeral.
I went there with my mom. I remember very well. That time, you guys, I saw my mom in some room with Ruth Odinga was also there. And Ruth Odinga was very young, and you guys, they were crying a lot. And then I was taken to some room. Yeah, because apparently these guys some of my relatives didn't want me to be around my mom.
Yes.
That's the only thing I can remember because I was very young, so my memory it's a bit blurry. Yeah, but I didn't go for this for Baba's funeral. However,
let me tell you. My grandma, I believe she might be listening to us. She's called Mama Sabina Hongo. Where I'm from Chiga. She told me that now that Baba is no longer here, I will never vote.
What?
My grandma shares same birth dates with Baba. They were almost age mates. In fact, not almost. They were age mates, born 45 Jan. 45 Jan both. So she told me, I have lived my life voting for Raila to become a president. Raila is no longer here. I don't see the sense of voting. And that will form part of the discussion.
No, we'll definitely talk about that.
Yes.
And then on my right hand side, another fresh guy here, Kiragu Mreithi.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. Good evening.
Good evening, man. You guys, been a minute, eh?
It's been a minute.
How was your weekend?
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
To have a conversation on youth.
Nice.
My name is Kiragu Mreithi. I'm a political scientist. I'm also the executive director of Vijana Mbele Foundation.
Good stuff.
I'm also a former young contender for the Kipipiri parliamentary seat
Nice.
in 2022 under the Service Party of Kenya.
Are we going to see you on the ballot again, 2027?
The momentum is still on.
Good
The
stuff.
hopes are high. 2027, I'm going to still be there in the ballot. It's good to be here, to have this conversation on youth, and especially when political dynamics are shifting.
Yeah.
Young people are gaining political consciousness.
Yeah.
It's good to be here to be able to add on to that political awareness so that we can create and sustain that momentum on young people participating in politics. And, as one philosopher once said, the worst illiterate is the political illiterate who doesn't understand what politics is, who doesn't understand when the price of sugar rises and goes down. That is the political illiterate, and there's nothing worse than being a political illiterate. So we don't want our young people in Kenya to be political illiterates.
Yeah,
we want them to be actively involved in politics, because politics is what motivates everything in the society. And that's why we're here to have this conversation.
And the biggest conversation, Kiragu, is obviously about there's the by-elections going on.
Yes.
But let's take it let's take it way back.
Yeah.
To, of course, the situation to do with ODM. Of course, we lost the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, the ODM leader, and the impact is still felt.
Yes.
Even when you look at the conversations within ODM party, it's a bit confusing about the direction they're going, right?
Precisely, yes.
Now, a couple of days ago, we saw the celebrations of the ODM at 20, and most folks were actually saying that Winnie is Raila Odinga reincarnate.
Yes.
Kwanza, that was the headline in most of the dailies. You understand? She had a very impactful speech at that event in Mombasa. And my question to you is, do you actually think Winnie has what it takes, to fill up the position that her father left?
I mean, really, ODM at the moment, what is happening in ODM is that they are navigating turbulence, a period of turbulence in transition, and debating over the future of the party. Now that Raila Odinga is gone, there's that, intergenerational fight.
Yeah.
You see, the likes of Babu Owino, the likes of Edwin Sifuna, they don't want to stay at the norm that we are at the norm that ODM is at the moment. That negotiated agreement between ODM and the government.
Yeah.
I think they're still feeling that fire to go back to be that fierce party for fighting against injustices in Kenya. And seeing the fights within the internal ODM, you see Edwin Sifuna stated clearly the other day that William Ruto wanted him out of the political party, and he's not going down any moment. And that creates and shows us that there is a visible crack within the ODM party. And these are just party wars. And what is happening in ODM is indecisiveness. They have not reached a decision yet. Yes, some do not want to stay in the negotiated agreement between ODM and the broad-based
and the government. Yeah.
Others want ODM party to go back to its momentous state of being that fierce party for fighting injustices against Kenya, and that is what is happening. Mentioning also the generational war, you see young people, you see fire in them. Babu Owino, the likes of Edwin Sifuna, also
apparently Winnie is also in that camp.
Winnie Odinga is also in that camp.
Yeah.
Governor Orengo is also in that camp.
Yeah.
They want that fire to be back in ODM. I mean, they basically don't want anything to do with that negotiated agreement with the broad-based government.
Yeah. And Kennedy, what do you think about this whole thing for apparently some Winnie? Let me go back to Winnie. Yeah, so she said during that event in Mombasa that some people are trying to sell the party, and they're not going to allow some folks to get into the bedroom and make pillow talk agreements. That whole relationship between Baba and the government was a bit complicated. Obviously, she was referring to the broad-based government. So I guess my question is, when it comes to Oburu Odinga, do you think he has what it takes to actually lead ODM moving forward?
Thank you. I think, allow me to speak about the ODM.
When I say to lead ODM, I mean to represent ODM in the broad-based government. Does he have what it takes?
I mean, let me just put it in my own way. I would try to answer to all those questions.
Yeah.
Number one, Oburu did not participate in the negotiation for the broad-based government.
Yeah.
Whatever it entails, this was a private agreement between Baba and William Ruto.
Yeah.
So you cannot in any way imagine that you can understand the primary foundational agreements between the late former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and President William Ruto. I mean to say, we only had one Baba, and we shall always only have one Baba. Nobody can try to fit his shoes and succeed. All said and done,
Yeah.
ODM party is battling identity crisis during a transitional crisis.
Yeah.
So ODM party is known to be a vibrant, quote unquote, as the state has always put it, chaotic, which is not the case. A vibrant person must not be branded as chaotic. An ODM party is a party that speaks for the people.
Yeah.
It is a party that was founded in battlefield, not in pillow talks.
Yeah.
As you see, Gladys Wanga today is running ODM like an aviator plane. You may think that even planes have got codes that they use to land at a particular place.
Yeah.
There is system, so now things should be done. And we can only have one spokesperson at a particular time.
Yeah.
It is a concern to note that ODM party has been left to confuse its followers. Today, the ODM party has been segmented into interest-led groups. We have pro-government, led by Gladys Wanga and Oburu Odinga. We have the pro-people segment led by Winnie Odinga, who are saying that whereas Oburu was picked to be the party leader, there is a constitutional process within the party that stipulates on transition and inheritance of leadership.
Yeah.
When Baba was still alive, Raila led ODM with his deputies. In an unlikely event that the party leader ceases to exist, either through incapacitation, death, or any other circumstances, the protocols within the party dictates that the party leader is succeeded by the deputy party leaders, which they had not one, but two. Tell me, which scientific method did they use to bring Oburu to the party? So we, as Sankara, I support the ouster of Oburu because having a party that respects its own constitution translates to a government or a parliament that respects the constitution of Kenya. If we are going to usurp the people's power and the constitutional powers vested in parties, then we're not going to have people elected on this party who will recognize and respect the law.
Yeah, fair enough. So my question is, why do you think the party is slow to call for the NDC?
Sorry?
Why do you think the party is slow to actually call for the NDC, the National Democratic Council, to steer the party, to transition the party to the next step of leadership?
The current holders of office knows very well that when an NDC is called, because in the political party leadership hierarchy, NDC is the highest decision-making organ. So the moment the highest decision-making organ comes in, they will always endorse what the constitution says. That will affect the current leadership. Leadership is not transferred through natural circumstances like death or etc. Leadership is procedural. Even for me today, if I want to become the MP for Kisumu East, I am not going to wait for Shakil to exit the office. Then I just walk in. I have to seek mandate from the people. Seeking mandate from the people is popular legitimacy. You can be in power, but you don't have popular legitimacy. You will be struggling. So ODM should just respect itself. Should just accept that it's no longer a chicken poultry farm party. It is a bigger political party.
Sankara, what you're telling me in a nutshell is if they actually, if the NDC takes over the whole process of transitioning the party to the next leadership now, chances are high it's going to be a youthful situation.
Oburu will see bad things. Pilot Wanga will see bad things.
Let me ask you something, Kiragu. Do you think Winnie Odinga is trying to take over the leadership of ODM? Is that what we're trying to see? Is that what she's technically telling us? That she's ready to take over from her dad?
Let me tell you, politics can be generational, and looking back at the history and the relationship between Raila Odinga and Winnie Odinga, Raila literally molded Winnie to be a leader in this country.
Yeah.
She's currently the Iala MP, sitting Iala MP. And looking at the campaigns that they did in 2022, the Azimio campaigns, Winnie Odinga was there.
Yeah, she was at the forefront, actually.
With the dad.
It's true.
So she understands the dynamics of politics in Kenya.
Yeah.
And she was instrumental in his campaigns.
Yeah.
So I'd say at some point, politics, yes, can be generational. Looking at the history and the precedents of leaders that you've had before, you're looking at Raila Odinga. His father was also into leadership.
Yeah.
You're looking at Uhuru Kenyatta. His father was also the president of Kenya.
True.
Kijana wa Malwa.
Yeah.
Family members were still in the government of Kenya. So politics can be generational if molded well.
So you're saying Winnie actually wants to take over the leadership?
Winnie...
Let's just call a spade a spade.
Winnie can talk over the leadership.
But I heard some people saying she's not really politically mature.
I mean, you'll get all sorts of mouth-waggling here and there about Winnie. And criticism, it's open and it's accepted in politics.
Yeah.
But looking at Winnie Odinga, I'd say she's good to lead the party and to take any leadership position. And actually to speak
I disagree.
for the party.
Hold on,
You know
Ken.
why?
Yeah.
At the moment, we are going to a moment where young people need to be seen in these places.
I agree.
Young people need to be identified within political parties, within leadership.
Yeah.
When you look at ODM at the moment, Oburu Odinga, yes, is there. I think how old is he?
Should be 82.
82?
Yeah.
If you put Oburu Odinga and Winnie Odinga as frontrunners of the party, I mean, young people would fall for Winnie Odinga, because she got the zeal and the energy, and that is what we are speaking for.
And the young people are the majority in the country.
Yes, young people want to be identified. They want someone who can speak the same language, no matter where you come from, no matter if you study political science or not, whether you've come from a family that is political or not.
Yeah.
If young people see leadership, see young people sitting in party leaderships, in institutions of power, they then tend to build that trust.
But let me ask you something, Kiragu, before Kennedy, you respond to whatever Kiragu just said about leadership being generational. Some people are saying ODM is now turning out to be a family affair. Is that really sustainable? Because personally, I've heard from some of my friends in ODM, especially guys in the youth league, they're saying, they're not really comfortable with Oburu being their leader. It's just that they wouldn't say it out loud.
Yes.
But from your perspective, are you okay? Let me rephrase.
Yes.
Is it true that ODM is now just a family affair, and is it sustainable for them in the long run?
Let me tell you where it went wrong. The people who made the decision of Oburu Odinga to take over the party leadership, that is where they went wrong. They basically made ODM a family affair. Take it or leave it. And one problem that happened, Raila Odinga didn't have the chance to mold a younger leader to take over his footsteps.
Yeah.
We'd see him with Babu, we'd see him with Sifuna, we'd see him with other young leaders all over the country. But there was not that single young person that, Raila could say, if I'm gone today, this is going to take over the party by default, without even going for election or something.
And even if he had a preference, he wasn't clear with it.
Yes. So that internal strife, especially, you can see Winnie Odinga, they are making statements that are contradictory. You're seeing Oburu Odinga, he's still stuck with the agreement with the broad-based government.
Yeah.
There's basically an internal strife that, is a threat to the root of the party.
Okay.
Because without Baba's voice, I believe people in ODM right now are free to choose for anyone else, even outside the ODM party.
I agree.
That is how bad things are.
So I'll hold it right there. Ken.
Yes.
Kiragu has just said, at this point, it's a generational thing happening. We're transitioning to something very youthful. The youth are the majority in this country, and it only makes sense if somebody like Winnie, if not Winnie, to take over the leadership of ODM. You're saying, just like some people out there, I even saw what's his guy's name, Robert Alai tweet.
Yes.
That Winnie is not ready. Kwanza alikuwa anasema Winnie, I like you, but just understand you're not really ready. You're kind of green. And fair enough, Winnie has been in what? She's been Yala MP for 2 years now, two and a half, 3.
Yeah.
Does it make sense for some people to say she's not ready for this thing? Atulie kidogo.
In my academic journey, I studied procurement as one of the courses I took. And in procurement, we value processes rather than the product. How you got there, not what you got there. How you got there. The how matters. We will put you to account for the how. So in this perspective, I would say and still repeat, people should not think that Kenyans ordinarily loved ODM. Kenyans loved Baba.
It's true.
And ODM was Raila Odinga.
Yeah.
And Raila Odinga was ODM. There are a group of people, like I said, Wanga, who is running the party like a pilot aviator. People, all those sorts of people, they still want to believe or think that they can be Raila Odinga. I would tell you, Kevo, no. We only had one Baba.
Are you talking about Winnie or what?
No, let me tell you.
Just go straight to the point.
And even Winnie, I'm coming there. I had to make a part to my point. Even Winnie, when we speak about young people, I would disagree with you, my brother. It's not about young people. At this point in time, Kenya needs change, which is actionable and visible. It's not about young people. What is it that is compelling young people to get to the table, to continue eating, to form the group, to join the group of big boys and touchable boys? No, that is not the case. Being young is one of the advantage, but not the only advantage. In fact, it should be adding to the basket you already have. This being a young person should just be an added advantage. Not that I want to run for an office, all I have to tell my constituents is I am a young person. So what? Even the old people were once young people. What did they do good to this country when they were young? Nothing. So on Winnie succeeding Baba, she has the constitutional right to do so. If only the protocol within the party is followed, she goes through the due process, expresses interest, and maybe gets elected. But without, just picking like someone choosing grocery in the market.
I don't think she's looking out to be handpicked, to be honest. I think she wants due process. That's why she's
exactly. And I'm defending her because she speaks about internal democracy. So that's why I'm saying if she goes through the due process and the people, the popular mandate accepts her bid, which she hasn't expressed interest in, people are confusing. You see, the maintainers of status quo today want to fight Winnie that she wants to take over because she called for internal democracy. Winnie just want the right things to be done by the right person at the right time, not that she wants to take over. So these people should, for once, accept that this is a corporate institution. A party is like a corporate. There are rules and regulations that governs its leadership. You cannot just put people based on your personal, opinion about them. We want people who can deliver.
So Oburu Odinga also said that, you know what, he wants to be at the helm of the leadership only, to transition it to somebody, to a youthful one.
There was no constitutional crisis when Baba left. If they respected the constitution, I would still disagree with Oburu. He should be ousted as soon as yesterday.
Okay, so let me ask you something, Sankara. I get what you're saying,
Yes.
But moving forward, let's say now the party calls for an NDC. Does it make sense for the next party leader to be a Luo or to be from the Luo community? Is it only natural?
No.
Because apparently, from certain quarters of this country, people are saying, let's be real.
ODM is a Luo affair.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I am a Luo and I'm not a member of ODM.
I know what you're saying. I know. But it's identified as a Luo, but where it was born. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And if you think that trajectory, I would come up with a defensive response. And that's why we even stand against that formation. Because what has ODM done for us, the people of Luo Nyanza? Today we are speaking about a by-election in Kasipul. You see, they are forcing a very green boy to go for an election just because the father was an MP. That is not what we want. We want parties that allow democracy, a party that allows people to go through popular vote, and the best is elected amongst the rest. Not a party that is going to bring everyone just because my father...
Sure, I'm not talking about family.
It's not about family. I'm just trying to put it clear. I know. If someone wants to say that ODM is a Luo affair, to me ODM has done the worst in Luoland, and I would not support it on the basis of a Luo party.
Kiragu,
yes,
your politics is local, man. politics is local. The same way DCP is sort of identified with the mountain.
Yes.
You know, yeah? DAP is sort of identified with Western. Does it only make sense that the next, after Oburu Odinga, it's only fair that the next party leader should be a Luo? Is that narrative correct?
You see, really, Kenyan politics has been designed to have that ethnic aspect.
It's true, yeah.
You see, even when going back before we adopted this constitution,
Yeah.
and before we had parties, multipartism, and the moment where parties were being formed, they were being formed regionally. We had a party in Mombasa, we had a party in Nyeri, a party in Kisumu,
Nairobi.
a party here in Nairobi. It's about ethnicity. And ethnicity is a factor in politics. And, you know, at the moment with the modernization, you know, we are continuing to become a revolution, an evolving democracy. At the moment, as we evolve as a democracy, then we tend to withdraw and remove that aspect of ethnicity.
Okay.
But saying it out loud, I think really the next party leader for ODM will really come from the Luo Nyanza.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
What's your reasoning?
My reasoning is because politics is ethnic and it's identified by ethnicity.
That's true.
And looking at the majority of the people who prescribe to the ODM party, to the ODM ideologies, they come from the Luo Nyanza. They speak the same language.
Yeah.
So it's a factor. Look at the Jubilee Party. Most people who
It's
identified with the Jubilee Party.
Sankara, you got to be real.
are
No,
from
it
set
is
of-
ideal. There is realism part of it, and there is the ideal
Idealistic,
part of
yeah.
it.
But
But again,
there's something you spoke about.
Yeah.
yes,
There's something you spoke about young people
Yes.
in politics and identity politics,
Yes.
personalization. And let me say, politics in Kenya have not been designed to accommodate the young people. That is why in every space and in every room where decisions are being made, I motivate young people to be there and I support young people to be there, be it elective office, be it appointments.
Yeah.
I want young people to be there because we need a new equilibrium now.
Yeah.
We need to shift from those primitive politics that tell you as a young person, you don't belong here.
Yeah.
And I'm very, I want to congratulate the young people. There is a lot of political consciousness happening, political awakening. Look at the digital activism. Look at the formations in NGOs, in student leaderships. Young people are actually speaking up. They're asking questions. Yeah. And that is how we're going to forge that path.
in fact, the
177.
civic space has done it best.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we all know, just to,
Yes.
now you're bringing the point for the second time. Allow me say this to sum it
Very
up.
briefly, yeah.
Bad leaders are elected by good citizens who shun electoral processes. So it is good that Kenyans are waking up and realizing that it's not about putting sirens on vehicles and making noise in traffic signals.
Yeah.
It's
Precisely.
about sitting in legislative houses and calling order when it is supposed to be called. So going forward, as a nation composed of young people, it's only imperative that we take part actively in leadership. The moment young people do not want to vote or to take votes, and not just to vote and guard your votes.
Yeah.
Nothing. Jesus is not coming any soon. There is no miracle. You are going to end up with garbage. It is
hold it right there.
garbage in, garbage out.
Sure.
Yes.
So that's Kennedy Sakari and Kiragu Mreithi. We're talking all things, of course, the ODM Chronicles, power, legacy, and the quiet rift between the Raila Oburu dynasties. Now, when we come back, the opposition's odds in the by-election. We'll touch on that real quick. Guys, this is Culture Kitchen. Everything here is from a youthful perspective. Yeah, and if you want to engage in the conversation, remember you can actually call us on 0719012600. Right now, Truthful, Heavy D, and the boys. It's about 7 minutes to 8.
Spice FM. Get your gig on.